It's a great day to talk hockey with Grant McCagg on HabsCast.
Oh, it's a grand day to talk hockey. I was thrilled to get a hold of Manny Viveiros today. He's coaching in Austria, Salzburg actually. I don't know how many of you remember Manny, but he was a hell of a defenseman. You know, if he'd have played in this era, he'd have been a long time NHLer, and you'd all know about him because he had he had 3 straight years where he had 88 or more points playing defense in the WHL back in the 80s. Mind you, there was more scoring then, but he was quite dynamic and undersized, and especially in those days, if you were 5'11", you you were considered, if you weren't 6'3", you weren't considered. They liked them big, the defensemen, tough, tall, in those days especially. I don't mean they still do, but it just there wasn't much room for the 160-pound defenseman, which is what Manny was when he first broke into pro hockey. But he coached Spokane, Swift Current, Vancouver in the WHL. 3 years in the AHL as a coach. Now he spent a lot of years playing hockey in Austria, and when the kids grew up, he said, if they ever had a chance to go back there, him and the wife, they would, and they did. He loves it there, but he did coach Vancouver Giants for 2 years, and had Tyler Thorpe for those 2 years. So I had the opportunity to interview him this afternoon, or actually, yeah, it was afternoon, and got some really great stuff from him on Tyler that I'm going to play for you here. I hope you enjoy it, and it should be fun. He likes him a lot, so this is a really good interview. I'm going to play it here in just a minute. Laval, without Jacob Fowler in nets, without the leading scorer in the AHL, wins 9-3. Dauphin out, Fowler out, go into Rochester and just thump them. I watched the game. I'll have thoughts on that afterwards. Reinbacher with his best offensive game as a pro, I do believe, three assists tonight as an AHL pro, at least. Very encouraging to see him starting to show some offensive side. Taking Engstrom's place on the power play, but these were even strength points. I think he ended up +3, but I'll go over the stats a little later. I dig into them. The game just ended, so while this is playing, I will I'll gather a few more stats, comment about it, and also give my thoughts about these Bobrovsky rumors that are circulating. So without further ado, let's get to this Viveiros interview. I think you'll find it quite compelling.
In British Columbia.
Quite pleased to be joined by Manny Viveiros, former WHL great, who is now coaching Salzburg in the Austrian League. Welcome to the show, Manny. Thanks for coming on.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you were coaching Vancouver for a couple of years before this season, and you happen to have as one of your players a prospect that I am quite high on, and I'm just curious to get your thoughts on him. Tyler Thorpe, drafted by the Canadiens a couple of years ago, playing in Laval, the AHL
this year. I just I'll ask you a few questions about him.
Well, first and foremost, with Tyler, a real special young man. Just having an opportunity to the first time I ever met him, and I spent 2 seasons with him, and to see where he developed from the very beginning when we first got to know him at the end of his junior career, how much he matured as a young man. He was actually, for a young junior hockey player, he was a lot more mature than the average junior hockey player, but just his raw enthusiasm for the game, just loved the game, and the work that he put into it on and off the ice, and especially where he came from as far as not being traditionally drafted into the Western League, where he was found through the Vancouver Giants scouting staff playing junior B hockey in British Columbia, which was a really real nice find. But having said that, though, the odds for him to jump from that league into the Western Hockey League and make such an impact in such a short period of time and develop that quickly was quite amazing here. So just a great young man to talk with, very friendly, very passionate about the game. But just a lot of the conversations we had weren't even about hockey, just about different things that are going on within the world. Though he was more mature at that time than he was 18, 19-year-old. You thought you were talking to an adult at that time, and just a real pleasure to be around, and really quite impressive.
That's great to hear. He hasn't, it's difficult, especially for a 6'5" kid, 20 years of age, to step into the AHL. And your first season, typically there's a feeling out process there. He's only scored 2 goals, 10 points so far this year, but I have seen vast improvement in his game just from the start of the year till now. He's gaining more and more confidence. Just your own experience, when you stepped from junior hockey, and where you had 3 straight years of over 88 points as a defenseman in the league, and stepping into the AHL as a 20-year-old. I assume you were 20, maybe 21, but just give me a little bit of idea of what it's like, the jump from Western League to the American Hockey League.
Well, that certainly was a long time ago, but having the luxury of, or fortunate to also coach in 3 years in the American Hockey League in Henderson with Vegas's American Hockey team, and before that being in the Western Hockey League with Swift Current, and also Spokane. One of the things that I would try to teach the kids and pass on my knowledge, that not necessarily offensive skill set or offensive numbers are going to translate to the American Hockey League or the NHL. And you have to find, basically have to have, different tools in your toolbox for different jobs in the situations that you're going to be put in the American Hockey League. So 100-point player in the Western Hockey doesn't automatically translate into 100 points in the American Hockey League, and it certainly doesn't in the National Hockey League. So you're going to have to round your game out to be a complete player compared to one dynamic player. And where I saw Tyler, for the 2 years that I had him, I don't think it was a lack of confidence. I just don't know if Tyler at that time knew the potential, that how good he can be eventually. And you saw the improvement, his development, just like you're saying right now, what you've seen in him. Maybe a little bit of a slow start, but a lot of it I think has to do with confidence and feeling comfortable in these situations. And not only the hardest year, that first year in the American Hockey League as a 20-year-old, I compare it to a lot of it as a 16-year-old in the Western Hockey League or the CHL. Right. It's probably one of your hardest years throughout your career. There's a lot of things you have to learn. Not only is it just the game itself, how much better it is, just, life skills. You're living on your own. Now you're paying bills, time management, where in the CHL, a lot of that stuff is taken care of for you, whether you're living at home or with a billet family. So there certainly is an adjustment period. I saw it for 3 years in the American Hockey League, and I always felt that first year was the most difficult for those players. And if they can get through that first year to really understand what it's like to be a pro player, not only on the ice, but more importantly off the ice, that gives himself a real, good chance of having a long career in professional hockey. And, I know Tyler is more than bright enough and he's got a good head on his shoulders, and his feet are always planted on the ground. He's a young man that would absorb all this information and really, learn from some of the real pros in the Montreal organization. And I think certainly not surprised that as far as number-wise that, he's not producing right now, though. But I certainly do think there's a skill set in Tyler, being a big body who actually moves pretty good for a big young man. And don't forget, he's 20 years old, so he's still in some ways growing, and he's still not fully matured as far as his strength wise and stuff like that. And he moves around the ice pretty good for a big man. But what impressed me also too is I think he has an NHL wrist shot. He's got a shot. If he gets it away quick enough, it's heavy and it's quick at times. And that's something that really was, for me, I noticed, at the junior level. I says, I've seen that in the American Hockey League. I've also seen it in NHL when I work with the Oilers. I said, this kid's got that next level shot or potential to be effective. And it's like anything, Tyler's is going to take time, which I think the best thing for him this year is to play in the American Hockey League, then go instead of going back to junior or even go to college. He's going to play against, men, pro guys who are going to, they're going to go on to the National Hockey League or have had really good careers in the American League. And for him, not only the skill stuff on the ice is more about, the off ice of learning to be a pro to give him the best chance to, eventually play in the National Hockey League.
Yeah. Well, like his first year in and he was making the jump from the BCHL and Junior B, as you had said, like he had 4 goals, 2 assists in his first year of junior. And so we see kind of a similar pattern here where he just got to adjust to the level of hockey. I mean, and then that was his draft year. So he was drafted as an 18-year-old by the Canadiens, 5th round the next year. I went back and I didn't know that he was. Honestly, had not looked at him a lot in his draft year. I think he was a bit off the radar because he had been undrafted the year before. But I went back and looked, said, holy geez, if he hadn't got injured, I think he would have been drafted higher in that year, because he really improved as a player.
I totally agree with you on that. I think he's, the progression part of the unfortunate injury that he had, though, but it certainly did, maybe hurt his draft status. So, but that's something, that we relate to Tyler. We tell him, it says, Tyler, especially right now in North America or pretty well anywhere in Europe right now, is that if you're good enough, they're going to find you. There's enough teams, people watching around, and that if you're playing in a relatively decent league, and the CHL is, one of the high, if not the most scouted leagues in all of the world, people are going to notice. And as funny as people kept always asking, just tell me a little bit about this Tyler kid. Just tell me a little bit more about this kid. What is he? And I says, if you get a chance, talk to him. He says, you'll find out who he is as a person, but continue to watch his game grow. And again, I think it's everything was so new to him, as far as the hockey part, the systems part, and everything like that. But like I said, a very intelligent young man who picked it up real quick. And for me, with the 2 years I had him there, I had him in all situations. He was on the power play, and more importantly, for him, he's learning how to play the penalty kill. And
PK.
He was on PK. And I think, again, there's a guy, potentially He's going to be able to, maybe play in your bottom six as a forward, power forward, but he can eat up a lot of minutes on the penalty kick because he's long, he's got good reach, and again, he moves quite well, and he understands it too. So that's important. You always look at the best players and most skilled players of the power play, but your most intelligent players a lot of times are your penalty killers, and that's a real big part of it. And I think he has that type of hockey IQ and also the physical attributes to be able to fill that role.
He can handle himself with his fists too.
I've seen it. I keep taps on him all the time. I check up on him as far as via the internet and checking his stats and stuff like that. And a couple of his fights have popped out, and in junior hockey, it's one of the things that we would talk to him about. And it's one thing you would never do is say, you need to fight or you have to fight. We'd never use that vocabulary, but we also say, listen, you do have to defend yourself. And
right.
One of the things that we talk with Tyler is that Tyler said, you're a big body kid and you're pretty strong. And says, you want to be an NHL player? And he says, that's the first thing he says, absolutely. I said, then you may have to learn how to do that in some capacity as far as defend yourself, because some guys will test you and you're going to get tested. That's just the way pro hockey is. And so he says, we need to, be a little bit aware of that. And I know, I think maybe the Canadians have done some work with that, helping him and stuff like that. But what I've seen him in the American League compared to where he was fighting in junior hockey, I think it's you can see he's been schooled in the right way. So he has that presence. And I don't know if Tyler, it's not in his nature because he's such a kind-hearted young man. But if you do get him a little bit upset, he certainly he's got a little in him to certainly back someone off.
Right. Well, he's got a pretty good reach. I think he's 6'5" or thereabouts. And, what was he as far as size, weight goes at the end of last year? If I don't know if you know or knew, but how much more weight?
Exactly. I don't know, but I do know when he first came, the first time he came to Vancouver, and by the time he left, he certainly leaned up in a much more positive way. He went from not training like you'd have to be at the next level, and then within 2 years he was very conscientious of what he ate and took care of himself. And he leaned up a bit, but he's still a heavy young man in the junior level. So I think he was probably around the 210, 215 at that. If I can't quite remember though, but it was all lean muscle. There was nothing, there was no excess body fat, which he did a really good job, which at times is rare sometimes in junior hockey for these young players to understand more importantly, the nutritional part of it. But he really certainly did. And, with his body frame, you don't know, who knows? He could be 220, 230 with that type of body frame. He's a big,
Well, look, so you think that there's still Brandon Davidson? I'm reminded of him when he first came out of junior hockey to the AHL. The first year, didn't play a whole heck of a lot, even though he was a 100-point scorer and a great junior hockey player. It took him a year to adapt, and playing time isn't. You're a bottom six and the sit in the stands kind of guy at 20 often in the AHL, despite how good you are in junior. But then the next year he made a significant step, and by the next year he got called up. He even seen some games in Montreal and stuff. Do you kind of see that sort of time frame for one more good off season, keep working on stamina, endurance, all that stuff, get a little stronger yet, a little quicker, and come back and be a fairly productive player next year at the AHL level, and then the following training camp start to knock on the door to maybe find a bottom six power forward kind of role with the Canadians?
I totally agree. I think that's a right path for Tyler. I think for most young kids, that opportunity to be put in key situations. If he can get, for instance, a power play time in the American Hockey League, obviously that's something that's to be earned, but be in those situations where, he's comfortable being in the penalty kill situations or comfortable be playing in last minutes of games and stuff like that. It just prepares him, for those situations that he might ever have in the National Hockey League. And I think it is, again, just looking at Tyler's trajectory and how he's developed, whether it takes 1, 2, maybe 3 more years, I think there's certainly an upside on him of having a long career in the National Hockey League. And if he continues to put in the work and learns, what he needs to be as an ultimate pro, I think he has a really good shot at playing in the National Hockey League.
I think the Canadians, they drafted Papanicus last year. Thorpe 2 years ago, Florian Jacki. I see them looking down in the future as that kind of a big, tough, hard to play against fourth line, if you want to call it a third line. Do you see him having, what would his upside be? Third line power forward type bottom six guy? Do you think he has third line upside in the NHL?
I certainly do. Not, I always hate to put a limit on what a person is.
Yes.
It's because you never know. This young man could end up being, a top 6 forward and playing all situations. And that's what you want. You want them to strive for that. But in the meantime, we tell the kids, if you try to round out all your game, not just with the puck, your play without the puck, and especially in your defensive zone. If the coaches rely on you, trust you, they're going to find a spot for you to play. And so if you can have all, like I said earlier, all those tools in the toolbox, certainly gives them an advantage. So you never know. Like you look at the National Hockey League as far as the teams, it's such a speed game nowadays, but it's still a heavy game. You always go back to the Florida Panthers. They skate as good as anybody, but they're as heavy as anybody, and they'll lean on you in the playoffs. And that's something I think Tyler has, that mobility as far as he can get up ice and get moving pretty good, in that physicality also too. So I know one thing that we kind of use a comparison for him, but not to kind of model his game around. And whether it's fair or not, that's who I thought. I said, look at Josh Anderson on the Canadians. How he moves, how physical he is. He's a big guy. He moves. He gets involved. He's got off. He can produce, but also he's very, very hard to play against. And I said, Tyler, that's what they're exactly. I believe at that time wasn't Montreal's talk about it. That's what the scouts are going to be looking for, to be that type of player or that.
Yeah. Well, eventually that could be who he replaces, kind of in the lineup, really. As time goes along here. First 3 steps for his size. What do you think of his quickness off the mark?
Well, you haven't seen him since last year, but it is something that he needs to continue to work on. But that's normal for a young man at that size.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think it's the game, especially in the National Hockey League. It's all about 2 feet. Who can get to that puck quick enough, and if he can improve on that, once he gets going, he's moving. But it's that quickness, and you see it with. All the best players in the National Hockey League. It's that 2-foot race, who gets there first. And once you have puck possession, if he can improve that in his game, once he has it, he's such a big bodied man. It's going to be tough to get the puck off him.
Yeah. That to me is the one, like, if you were to say what he needs to work on the most, just the quickness off the mark. But again, like, it's 6'5" and 20 years of age, right? That's something. There are very few Eric Lindroses in the world that's quick off the mark when they're a teenager, 20 years old. That's at that height, right?
I totally agree. But again, Tyler is one of those kids. He puts the work in, and I think that's the biggest thing. What I've seen, through my career as coaching or playing in the National Hockey League level or the American League level is the difference between, some players putting the work in and some not putting the work in. And what I've known of Tyler, and I've seen it the 2 years that I had him in Vancouver, is that he puts the work in. And so that gives him he's already got a head start of probably, quite a few people.
Yeah. Well, I've been very impressed since I've seen progression. I think next year he has a breakthrough year at the AHL level. It's just going to take another summer of work and come back next year. And it sounds like he'll put the work in, and that's, the Canadians have a really good development staff in place, I believe, and he's only going to get better. He might even have an impactful playoff this year, because I think he's kind of built for that kind of hockey, is he not?
Certainly. Again, I think it's he's built for those type of those series. But better than I do watching NHL playoffs. It's a heavy and mean time of year, and you need guys like that who are able to not just withstand one series but go deep in the playoffs. And I think that's something he certainly has the build for that for sure.
Yeah. You got to see Papanicus a couple times last year.
Yeah, a couple times. Again, it's tough when you don't. We saw them actually quite a bit, but it's he's a good player. I don't mind him at all. He's quite impressed. Quite impressed. But I don't have a big enough book on him as far as my own player, so to speak, though. But certainly, I think he's a pretty good young player.
Okay, yeah, but similar mold of Thorpe in that 6'4" plus, good skater, can handle himself with dropping the gloves and all that stuff. Again, I foresee these guys being, I don't know, the thump line or whatever down the road for the Canadians, where they put a kind of like a Vegas had there in their cup years, where a line that just goes out and softens up the defense for the top lines type of group. And I think Tyler, like you say, once he gets going, and he's he's kind of a bit of a runaway freight train out there. He's pretty good speed for his size already, right?
No, I totally agree. I think it's something where, a young man like that who moves well and is heavy on the body, anytime you dump a puck in and try to retrieve it, that the defensemen know. They know when he's out there. If he's playing, let him know, which is good. And you may make a defenseman or the opposition move the puck a little bit quicker than they want to, and if you're doing that, then certainly you're getting noticed by the opposition, and you're making a difference for your team.
Yeah, for sure. No, well, that's all very positive. I appreciate the all the insight. What would you say are like skating, size, shot, competitiveness? Was he consistently competitive for you, did you find?
I think that's probably the biggest area that we could have improved on in a little bit more. He's a very competitive young man, but what I mean is by his first puck battles, where I think when we try to teach him is we would say, Tyler, when you go in the corner for a puck, you should be coming out with a puck or net front battles. Right. If you're going to plant yourself in front of the net, you should own the opposition's net front area like that. You should be noticed out there. You should be able to even push the defenseman out of that area. Those are the areas along the wall and the net front area. I said that will give you a really good opportunity to play in the National Hockey League. And I think that's something, again, at a young age, it's always... It's harder to convince these young players, and I'm not saying that Tyler was like this, but my experience is hard to convince these young players is, the game is still about compete, and it's still about one-on-one battles. It's certainly skill, but before you can use your skill, you got to get the puck, or you have to keep the puck, and that's something the young players certainly understand when they first turn pro, is that how much stronger, first of all, the players are playing against and how skilled they are, or just as skilled or even more.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think he's on track here. I really like the progress he's made, and partly it might be partly like you still got to, when you're that size, you got to build your stamina and endurance a little more as well. And when he gets that more so, then maybe he wins more puck battles as well, right?
Totally agree. I think that's just part of the process, as far as a young player still growing into his body, so to speak. So that'll certainly come with the proper training on and off the ice, and plus the will to get better and understand how important that is.
There's three, at least three. Well, no, actually there's four Western Hockey League defensemen. One that is playing NCAA hockey this year, but that you would have seen last year, including one that was on your own team, Ryan Lynn, who are pretty highly regarded. Just give me a little bit of your thoughts on Ryan Lynn as a draft prospect this year, and where you think he might slot in the draft, if just based on what you witnessed having him on your team last year.
Well, unfortunate for Ryan this year, he's been out for a while with an injury. I'm not sure exactly when he's going to come back. From what I've heard, he will be back to play the remaining of the season.
Oh,
they're not going to make the playoffs, which is unfortunate for him. But I had him last year as a 16-year-old, and
right.
he was dynamic as a 16-year-old. His skating ability. To be able to get out of trouble using his legs, and his playmaking skills, as far as his first pass skills, were outstanding for a 16-year-old. And he was, arguably our best defenseman last year at 16 years old. And, we weren't surprised that he was rated so high this year in Central Scouting. And certainly not surprised. So I think whoever there picks this young man, whether he goes in the top 10 or the latter part of the first round, they're getting a really, really good young man and a really good person. Hockey intelligent, very bright kid, competitive as heck. And he's not a big defenseman, but he doesn't. But he plays certainly a lot bigger. So he's not as small as people think he is. He's got pretty good legs on him and core, but he is really hard to bump off pucks, and he very seldom loses one-on-one battles at the junior level here like that. But his mobility for me is his biggest asset, because he can defend so well with his feet, even on bigger players. And then he can also, like I said, get out of trouble with using his legs with his skating ability.
Sounds like a bit like a defenseman I used to follow in the Western Hockey League. I don't know, 30 years ago, 25 years ago. I don't.
A lot longer than that.
Was it more than 30 years ago now? Okay.
It was. I'm sure
time,
it was. Too long to remember. Too long to remember.
You know who I'm talking about then. All right. Okay.
Yeah, Greg Hogan.
No, you were outstanding. Do you ever wonder if, hey, maybe, it was just the wrong era with, you see the successes of a Quinn Hughes and Lane Hudson and guys like that, where think, geez, if I'd only, if hockey was like it is today, back then, when you almost had to be a 6'3" defenseman to even get looked at in the draft, you think maybe you would have had a longer NHL career?
Yeah, you never know. That's all hindsight, but still, I don't look at that. My life's been wonderful. So, I'm pretty proud of playing in an era where, it was for a smaller stature defenseman to be able to play in hockey back then. That for me I thought was an accomplishment in itself. But I don't look back at what could have been. Life's been really good for me, so I'm pretty blessed, and got a great family, my wife and kids and my grandchildren. Can't complain any more than that. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Listed, I noticed 5'11" on hockey databases. Was that maybe they have a tendency to add an inch there to heights? Was that the case with you, Manny, or were you legitimate?
No, I was legit. I've shrunk since then. I'm 60 now. I've shrunk. But no, I was legit. 5'11".
Okay. Yeah. 160 though. Was that
was right? That was right. I think I played my first year pro as a defenseman at 160. That might have been a little bit tainted. That number. I might have been a little bit slighter though. So, but it wasn't far off. So.
Yeah. Okay. You look a little bigger than 160 now.
It's just a camera.
Okay. Well, me too. Hey, it's great that I could get you on here to talk about the torpedo, as I call him. I hope he can. I think he can make the jump someday. I just think the Canadians ultimately want some size and grit in that bottom six, especially when Anderson's ready to hang him up. And I certainly hope that he can make the jump someday. Always glad to hear when he's about the character being good, because I think the Canadians have made a point of also that's been an important aspect. They do a lot of homework when it comes to looking into players' character and stuff, and it's an important part of drafting a young player in today's environment, is it not?
Certainly, I think for me that's first and foremost. As far as a player, you have to look at character first and foremost. You're looking at these young kids nowadays, and I think after that you can work with these young kids. There's numerous examples throughout many years of different players and stuff like that. But I think the biggest thing is a character and what who you have, and again, like not just when times are good or when times are bad, or how they take care of, so how they treat people. That for me is really important also too, as far as which is part of the character though. And certainly talking about good character, Tyler certainly checks that box.
Excellent. Did you notice Verhoff and Carroll's last year? Did you just curious as to your impressions on those two who could go top 5?
Yeah, certainly did. We knew though, like that we were saying in our division, because we faced Victoria 8 times and also Prince George 8 times, so we saw them quite a bit. And we were kind of saying this is going to be a real special draft year coming up. At that time, as far as prospects from the Western Hockey League, and knowing Verhoff, I thought he's going to be a really good defenseman. And he's built like a prototypical NHL defenseman. And then Ryan Lynn, which I saw every day. And then this young man Carroll's just impressed me more and more as I saw him play throughout last year, and obviously this year, what he's done with his team also too is going to be a really good draft year. For the Western Hockey League, only 2 of them are there, but still, Verhoff was original, Western Hockey League with Victoria.
Yeah, I guess in Rudolph you wouldn't have seen as much, right, being in the East, but
no, we saw those guys once a year.
Yeah, but also pretty highly regarded. It's a great, a good year to be looking for a defenseman if you've got a top 15 pick in the NHL draft. Oh, all right, Manny, I really appreciate your time. And what time is it over there in Salzburg right now?
We're right now it is 5:35 p.m. So we're 6 hours in Montreal time.
Well, might be supper time then. I better let you go. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Matty. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Sorry about that. Back when Alex Heponiemi was a prospect for the draft, I got in touch with Manny when he was coaching Swift Current and got filled in on Alex. I know he was undersized, but the kid was just a super playmaker. Never, like he went in the third round in the draft and never quite just didn't have the size, But that was my introduction to Manny, and I thought, I'll contact the Salzburg hockey team here and see if I can get him on the podcast to talk about Tyler Thorpe. And, I mean, you had to like what he said about him, especially the character part. You know, it is important, and the Canadians have done a really good job of drafting players with high character. And you can't, as he said, he thinks it's the most important thing. So, this is a guy played friggin' 20 years of pro hockey. He's coached. He's a lifer. He's a hockey lifer, and I really respect his opinion. And if he says character is perhaps the most important thing, I'm not gonna argue with him about it. And he couldn't have spoke higher about Tyler Thorpe's character. It was the first thing that came out of his mouth, and basically, when I asked him his impressions, it was all about just how great a kid he was, and it's so important that a young player listens, learns, and is willing to put in the hard work, because you see it, right? Talented players that just don't quite get it. There was a kid from the Quebec League drafted first overall about 6 years ago, and I think everybody knows who I'm talking about, that took things for granted a little bit. Didn't think he had to work hard in the off season, play a lot of golf, drink a lot of beer, and he's not living up to that first overall billing, is he? It's just. But I've seen progression from Tyler Thorpe this year. I think he's a really good. Well, what other player from the Q got picked first overall? I yeah, I love I love the progression that Thorpe has made. I think he's well, Matt even said maybe he could be a second line guy. I don't think, they're not gonna, like you said, you don't like to pigeonhole these guys, but I think third line power winger is his upside. But more than likely to be a fourth line, part of a big bruising fourth line. Like I keep envisioning, and I said it to him, like Jack Eye and Papanicus, with Thorpe maybe 3-4 years down the road as a or 2 or 3 years down the road as a formidable kind of a playoff type energy fourth line that can really do the job. So as I said, I would talk about the 9-3 pasting tonight. Here were the lines for the for the game tonight, Laval game. As you can see, leading scorer in the leading scorer in the AHL was not playing. That being Laurent Dauphin and Kakkonen and Nets. Fowler's out for a bit. Didn't matter. They went into Rochester and just swamped them 9-3. Who led the way offensively? You'd think with the 9 goals that there'd be a pile of players that got 3 or more points. Only one by the name of David Reinbacher. First 3-assist game in the AHL. He's now up to 19 points on the season. 5 goals, 14 assists, plus 13. Putting up good stats. He's done nothing but improve, folks, since he first came into the league. I just I think Reinbacher is ready. I've been saying it. I'd like to see him get a call up if they trade a defenseman and they don't pick one up, but I have a feeling that he will be staying with Laval all year. Farrell, Bilzil, Roy was the top line. Roy had a goal and an assist. Davidson, Beck, Meshar was a little quiet till late. Davidson actually didn't pick up a point tonight, believe it or not. Beck got one. Beck and Meshar each scored nice goals in the third. Real nice feed through by Reinbacher to Meshar, who sniped one top corner. Devin Levi got the start, and he got pulled after giving up 6. That was the end of his. That was the end of his night. Blay, Condotta, Thorpe. Blay with 2 goals. Had a really nice. Both of them were nice. You got the puck at the side of the net and did a little. Held on to it, deked the goalie, put it in, and then right after that, sniped another one. The second period was crazy. There was 7 goals, and they kept going back and forth. Laval, Rochester scored and Laval replied. Okay, Laval was up 2-0. Rochester scored. Laval scored like 8 seconds later. Rochester scored again, and Laval scored 14 seconds later. Like, it was just, they wouldn't. I was listening to the Rochester broadcast, and they were getting a little discouraged by this. Get all excited about scoring a goal, and then seconds later, just boom. You always got to like when they haven't even made the announcement for the other goal, and you score, right? Tie it up. But just an offensive explosion. Nice to see them get 9, especially with the like I say, the leading scorer in the AHL, not even in the lineup. But so it was pretty nice to see. It was enjoyable. I also caught some of the Minnesota game. Minnesota and Michigan. Keenan Draper, Chris Draper's son, who was drafted by the Red Wings in the 7th round. That was a nepotistic pick, if I ever saw one, because he should have never got drafted. Oh, geez, Mark, I appreciate that. You're being overly generous tonight. Thank you. Look, Michigan was up 3-2, and he cross-checked a guy in the face, took a 5-minute penalty with 6 minutes left. Not thinking, oh, they just blew it. But Ivan Kovic in nets there, Jack, who played in, Canadian that played in the OHL last year, held the fort, and they held on and got an empty netter and ended up splitting that series with Minnesota. So that was kind of cool. Let me just get to I'll get to a few scores here. I didn't have a chance to. Providence hadn't scored the last I checked. Michigan State losing to Ohio State 5-1 is a surprise. Oh, Penn State ended up tying it up. I'm just curious to see. 1 point, 1 assist for McKenna tonight. Just want to have a look here to see Providence. They got shut out. No points for Sawyer tonight. Florida won. Somebody was saying. I'm going to bring up the scoreboard here. I noticed Medicine Hat was losing 2-1. Last I checked. Pickford had an assist. But let's just go to the NHL here quickly. Buffalo beat Florida, 3-2. Caps beat Vegas 3-2. Washington's in Montreal tomorrow. Got to shut down Ovi. Utah's up 3-1 on Minnesota. Winnipeg beating the Ducks 1-0. I wonder if Hellebuck's going to be good the rest of the year. But so big game tomorrow. The rumors have been flying about. I mean, if you believe, I thought I'd mention it earlier, but H did get in a point tonight, Francois. Gotta be kind of getting more than that, I mean, a point per game's okay, but it's not going to get you the Hobie. Michigan, I don't know. They might not be in the Frozen Four. That wouldn't be the end of the world. I wouldn't mind seeing Hage out on the April 3rd weekend and give an extra week. Maybe get in 3 or 4 or 5 NHL games before the end of the year. Wouldn't be a bad thing. No help from Florida or Washington tonight. I don't mind. I sort of, I'd like Florida just to be officially out. A couple more losses here isn't the end of the world. And maybe, a couple more losses before the trade deadline, so they're really out of the race. Maybe Florida trades, maybe they become sellers at the trade deadline. That was the hot rumor today. Hey, if we're to believe all these rumors that are going around, Montreal's going to have Kadri, Thomas, Bobrovsky. They're going to have quite a lineup here by playoff time. Funny they tie Montreal to all these guys, all these insiders, and they probably won't end up with any of them. I hate to burst your bubble, but I don't know. What do you folks think about Bobrovsky coming here? Is it I don't know. I mean, he's capable of stealing a series. I get that, but how does Montreal's defensive game overall stack up with the Florida team the last couple of years? Like, mind you, he was a big part of that. When he's hot, he's a hell of a goalie. But then what do you do with Monty? What does Florida take Monty back? I just I don't know. Obviously, they got to get rid of Laine's contract. I think that is probably coming up. I was talking with Dennis Bernstein today. I'm gonna try to get him on. He's based out of San Fran, but he's always got some insider info on the Kings, and I want to get him on. He said he could do it, so maybe early in the week I'll have Dennis on and talk and ask him what he thinks about the possibility of getting trading Line A to LA, whether there's any any juice behind that rumor, what he thinks. Would you seriously think about taking on Bob's contract as per the recent rumor? Do you think he still has gas in the tank this year? Yeah. Good point, Mark, about, I mean, and that goes for the whole Florida team, right? When you make 2 finals in a row, that's one of the reasons why not many teams win, win 2 in a row, let alone 3 in a row, because you're playing a hell of a lot of games, right? And it catches up with you. Like, you have 2 seasons where you play like 110 games a year. That starts to weigh on you for sure. Yeah, absolutely. So let's get to a few more questions here. Borowski is a crazy one. Didn't see that being mentioned at the beginning of the year. Well, yeah. Monty wasn't supposed to be this bad either, right? Zeffel in his cave asks, were you upset with Montembeault in OT in the last game? My patience is... Oh, well, go check out the start of post-game show. Answer your question. Yeah, everybody was upset. Not just the freaking OT, the second goal by Schaefer, actually both of them. He let one through. I still don't know how it got through, the first goal by Schaefer, but it snuck through. And then the second one, he's not covering the short side. And none of them were like, they're all stoppable, but he didn't stop any of them. Monty's not coming up with the big saves when they need him this year. That's been the issue. Trading for a goalie feels more like a coin flip considering how goalies are. See Edmonton, who thought acquiring Jerry would bring his Pittsburgh results to Edmonton, failed. Yeah. I don't know. It wasn't like Jerry was setting the world on fire either. That one, you kind of get it where, and you see it fairly often, teams will, 2 goalies are struggling and they hope that a change of scenery will rekindle their career. And just like Kenny says there, like, it looks like it worked for Skinner, hasn't worked for Jerry. You start to wonder about the defense in Edmonton, right? If that's the case. But they also gave up like Kulak, who was a solid defensive defenseman. I've been a little more impressed. Well, everybody has been, but with Dubas's moves in the last couple of years in Pittsburgh, when given the I guess it was tough in Toronto. He obviously wasn't there to rebuild. He was there to try to win a cup. But in Pittsburgh, it's looks like there's a little different formula there. He's trying to remain competitive, but not going for it, and at the same time, kind of rebuilding because anyone that follows the prospects in the league knows that um, knows that the Pittsburgh had like nothing in the cupboard. Simon saying Reinbacher was a beast tonight. It's kind of funny, eh? It actually was less impressed with Reinbacher's game tonight than I was in the last three. He was on the ice for 2 goals against, and it's been a long time since that was the case. One of them was a even strength goal against, and that's only the second in the last 10 games at even strength. I'm still, and Mark had mentioned this earlier, and I agree that his bread and butter is going to be his defensive play. So that's what I'm, getting 3 assists is nice, and he made a couple of decent plays there. The pass to Machar, the tip point shot, the other one was a second assist, so it wasn't like he was an offensive machine tonight, but still nice to get 3 assists. It'll help his puck confidence a bit, and it's funny how the point totals for defensemen are just so important for some people, and that includes media members who should know better. Where it's gravy, but especially a guy like Reinbacher, who at the end of the day, it's going to be his size, mobility, physicality, one-on-one defending, outlet passing, puck retrievals, that are all going to be his, what makes him a really, really pivotal piece in the Habs puzzle going down the road here, and especially at playoff time. He's just going to be such an asset to have, and I can't wait till I don't know, Simon, if he was way more confident in his offensive game. Like I say, he got 3 points, and it wasn't like there was a huge difference. Just he they got 9 goals, and he was in on a third of them. Like I said, 2 goals against. He'd only been on 3 goals against in the last 9 games. So whether it's on the PK, he wasn't perfect on the PK. You can make mistakes on the PK too, right? But even strength goal against wasn't great. The PK goal against, he was kind of just standing around, he didn't cover the point man. It went back to the point, and there was no one else there. He should have came out and challenged him. He didn't. So honestly, I like I say, more impressed with his previous 3 games than tonight on a whole, but happy that he got 3 assists. But again, people put a little too much stock into points, especially for a defenseman, and especially for one like him. That's not what to key on when it comes to David Reinbacher, because there's lots of, Hudson Dobson going to be taking care of the prime, most of the offense, I think. Hey, Simon, I'm glad that you I'm glad that you don't mind if I disagree with you. All good. I appreciate everybody that comes out that's a regular on here. I know sometimes I can get a little cranky with some of the people on here. I'm going to try my best not to not to get too caught up in that stuff. I realize that everyone's not going to agree with me all the time. That's you know, we don't come here to talk to a yes man. Hey, there you go, Mark. Rhino has an elite first pass. Yeah, that will translate extremely well the NHL. I agree. There are some, I've heard, oh no, his passing is not very good. I don't find that to be the case at all. Okay, we've got 384 on X and 24 here, 26. That's, if you're watching on X, or go to the HabsCast YouTube channel. Join us in here. Join in the fun. We have a great Habs community here. Was building pretty good in January. It's kind of gone backwards here. Little discouraged, honestly, in February. Numbers haven't been great. I just hope, I hope we can keep building this. It's kind of going the opposite direction this month. I realize the Habs haven't played a lot, but I do hope that not losing a bunch of people here. 2 more super stickers if you guys can. Grant will attain his goal for the chat. Oh yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a goal thing here, and I thought I'd press it. It's a Q&A, a special Q&A. If we get 5 super stickers, contributions from folks here, then I've committed to a question and answer with everyone. So yeah, Mark was good enough to contribute 3, but I guess there needs to be 2 more to hit that goal of 5. So anyway, I guess when there's only, we're up to 37. So a couple of people that were watching on X listen to me. Welcome. Ask me some questions here. Friday night, got a little time. Francois also helped. Oh, okay. Because it said 3. I thought. Mark, member for 3 months. Free sticker chats. Okay. Not sure. Matt Drummer. Grant the Legend McCagg. Hey, Matt. That was a free sticker that doesn't count to the goal. Okay. Oh, okay. So it's just the $5. Right. Okay. Gotcha. 2 more $5 donations, and then I'm committed to a live chat. Almost kind of hoping that it doesn't don't get the 5. Did I look at? Yes, Simon. You may have missed me talking about that. Mooney, wasn't great tonight, especially on that 5-minute power play at the end. He actually turned the puck over on the insurance goal, the fourth one with the empty net. Cole McKinney got. But I didn't see Hage's assist. I don't know if anyone did, but it was another primary assist for him. And if it's anything like the usual, it was a dandy. I'm just curious to see the standings here now. Laval. Yeah, 664. Grand Rapids is winning 80% of their games. 40 wins, 8 losses. They're going to be tough to beat. Laval is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th best record in the AHL. So I was worried about Peckford not maybe coming to Laval, but with him back from injury, that's good news, right? Let's hope that he. Oh, geez, we just jumped up to 50 people here on. We were at 25 not long ago. Now we got 50. Thanks, folks, for hopping over to the live chat. Let's get some questions in here from folks. Feel free, please. Yeah. Careful, Grant. I'll donate 2 more times if you want. Yeah. No, it's okay. Was the lineup for tomorrow's announced today? They don't normally do that, I don't think, Ken. They'll announce it tomorrow at some point. Oh, Dobus is going to be in that side. I'd be quite shocked if it was Monty. They came back with Monty. Hey, Grant. Hey, Drum Dude. New Hook looked quick last night. Almost had himself a goal. Yeah. Well, I mean, whenever you got a breakaway, you look quick, right? But he missed the net. I don't know, 2 feet. Seemed to have his feet back, but still got to get the shot. We saw a lot of that in the past, right? The friggin' shot. His sights aren't always aligned. Yeah. Here is a question I don't think you've been asked. Oh, you're getting prepped for the big Q&A that I might have to commit to here. I don't think you've been asked. What trade could the Habs make that would make you lose your mind, have a what the fuck moment, so to speak? I don't know, Crosby. That would make me lose my mind. First thing that comes to mind. Brady Tkachuk. Ottawa saying, well, we gotta get rid of our captain here. You know, there's a lot of fans, including Tina upstairs, that not very happy with Brady Tkachuk right now. But obviously Brady gets traded. I think it's going to be to an American team. Yeah. I don't know. Like, what the fuck? Get Kadri, because I wouldn't be very happy. Chester Howland. Why can't the Habs improve defensively? Because their goalie can't come up with a big save, Murray? Supposed to be able to teach defense, consistently lose puck battles in own zone. Yeah. I don't know. Defense always seems a little better when your goalies are saving more than 84% of their shots, too. So it's kind of a combination of the two. Also, I mean, Slav back passes to no one. You know, you can't blame the defenseman for losing, for running around a bit. Get a little tired when you're in your own zone for 2 minutes because Slav trying to get fancy. Slav, you know, maybe came back with a bit of a swelled head from the Olympics, and he just have to calm down there Slav, you're not gonna, you know, you got away with a few things at the playing against Latvia and Denmark or whatever, but I couldn't help but think last night, geez, a team like the Islanders or whatever, the way they were playing would have beat a lot of the teams at the Olympics. Like really, the Czechs or half the teams at the Olympics would have their hands full beating about every NHL team, I think. US and Canada obviously being exceptions. Do you see some Europe prospects jumping in Laval for the playoff run? It depends, I think. Well, I don't know. Can they, if they're under contract for another year, can they come over? I guess there are some exceptions, right? But none of them are lighting it up, right? I thought earlier in the year, Erickson maybe, if he the way he was playing and stuff, that maybe at the end of the year he'd come over. They could use some fortifications, but I don't know. I guess Rohr and Erickson, Bergquist maybe. I don't know how much any of these guys would play if they came over. Rohr's kind of had a disappointed year. Erickson might be the one that would help if he did, but it's not like there's a Demidov or something, right? Coming over. Did miss, yes. Poor guy needs to dial in the shot. Yeah. Nui. Connor Hellebuck to Montreal. Yeah, that would blow my mind. Imagine new hook speed with line A shot. Where is that guy? Ooh. Yeah. Hey, Grant, what are your thoughts on Lawson Crouse as a possible addition to the Habs next couple of seasons when he's a UFA? Yeah, if he becomes a UFA. If Barrett Tournier has any say in it, he won't become a UFA. They'll try to re-sign him, I think. Last year of his contract, summer. I'd be surprised if he goes anywhere. Imagine Captain. Oh yeah, sorry. I like the way you think. Connor Hellebuck, yeah. Well, that would shore up the defense a bit, wouldn't it? Line A shot. Yeah, no, I knew what you meant. Kadri would be the trade that would drive me crazy. Yeah, I know. Or Kapanen last year. What? Thanks again. Right, yeah. Oh yeah, you mean the European prospect coming over? Yeah, there's no Cappy coming from Europe this year. Trudeau arrested. Okay, what? Have I looked at the free agent pool for this summer? Yeah. I don't know that Montreal needs to. There never ends up being any. Players get signed. Anyone that any value seemingly gets signed pretty much, right? And Montreal's not. They've got so much depth, right? I mean, they've got to get rid of players as it is. I don't know that they'll be going down that road, the free agent pool. I mean, they've signed nobody of significance since Hughes has taken over, have they? As free agent? Not too many that spring to mind, that's for sure. Yeah. Well, I don't see Trudeau arrested trending, so. All right, folks. Texier. Free agent signing. Yeah, player bought out signing. Oh. What did I think of Zorowski's shootout goal? What did I think? That he was playing against, that he scored it against a goalie that's not going to be coming over to the NHL, was my first thought. He went for the deke, hook, line, and sinker. I mean, it looked, it takes two to tango on a shootout goal, right? Like lots of goalies don't go for that and they slide over and he doesn't score, but the goalie bit, and you can make it looks really good when the goalie bites, but it's not like it was some kind of a he faked one way and the goalie just lots of times they don't, because I've seen that deke a lot of times where it doesn't work, and this time it did. I mean, shootout goals, I don't get that excited about. I remember the kid. Oh, I'm trying to think. He played in the OHL. He was a Russian. He was about 5'8", and I never thought he'd play in the NHL. And Carolina prospect, and he scored highlight reel goals and shootouts in the friggin' summer, early camp, rookie camp, and he's going to be a star. You'd see the highlight over and over again, and oh man, he's going to be an NHL superstar. Because he scored a really beautiful shootout goal. Shootout. Whenever there's a 60-minute game of a shootout, then yeah, okay, good. But I don't get too wound up about a pretty shootout goal. No, I gotta. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Anybody know which kid I'm talking about? Because it was like, it went like viral. Tarosky or something. I'm trying to think of his name. I don't know if they even drafted him. If they did, it was really late. But he played in the OHL, and he had never ended up making the NHL. Long story short, which did not surprise me one bit. But people online were just, oh yeah, this kid's going to be a superstar, because he scored a couple of pretty goals in like scrimmages even. I think one was a scrimmage goal. It's like, hold your horses, folks. But yeah, it was a nice goal. Get back at it. I don't not want to rain on your parade or whatever, but Drum Dude, thanks for coming. Better late than never, my friend. Tolchinsky? Sergei Tolchinsky? It may have come to me. I think that's the name. I'm trying to look it up here. I went through their draft picks and they never drafted him. I think that was the name. Sergei Tolchinsky. Yeah, that's him. Yeah. He played 4 games in the NHL. Never scored a goal. He is playing in the KHL still. Listed at 5'9", but he's 5'8", standing on a telephone book. All right. Life getting in the way, eh, Drum Dude? Hey, it happens. Oh, yeah. No pressure, but if we get 2 more stickers, Grant is committed to chat. Is the Q&A, is the Q&A tonight? I don't even know how that works. I just have this thing, it said goal. So I pressed it and it said, and it actually said 10. And I said, well, I'm not going to get 10. People aren't going to give me 10 $5 donations. And I was right. And I didn't think there was an option for 3. Thank goodness. All right. Hey, I'm glad. I'm impressed that I came up with that name. Anyone else remember Sergei Tolchinsky? It was just, I think it may have even been HF boards at the time. I don't know if it may have even been before. Oh, no. Okay, Twitter was around then. Yeah. He scored one it was like a scrimmage. And he was going to be an NHL star because of it. Anyway. Yeah, please hit like, subscribe, hype, whatever tickles your fancy. And I'm doing a show at 10:30 tomorrow morning. Velokin, gonna tape it, put it out about noon. Then I'm gonna do a show post game, and it is now 11:18. Doesn't look like we're gonna hit this super sticker thing, so I'm gonna wrap this up. Oh yeah, I'll asking if are you doing a trade day podcast? Absolutely. I'll be doing, if the Habs make a trade before the trade day, I'll be doing one. I'll be doing a bunch. This week will be pretty busy. Hopefully March is better than, I hit more than 2,000 in January and I barely hit 700 in YouTube revenues this month. So hopefully we march into March going full steam ahead, getting lots of viewers. I'll have my work boots on, work my ass off, and hopefully it pays off. Going to a Gatineau game on Sunday. Gonna do a show with Rick in the morning, and then the prospect of the week that we didn't do last week because it was the gold medal game, and Habs prospect and draft prospect. And then I'm going to Gatineau to watch this Tommy Blale kid. Oh, what a nice looking defense prospect. I really like him. Fabulous skater and really smart. 6 foot right defenseman. Been very impressed with what I've seen on tape. I'm going to see him live on Sunday. I already did a video of him a couple of weeks ago that I'll put up after I see him live, and do a special draft profile on this Tommy Blale kid. I might like him more than Villeneuve, to be honest with you. As far as a Q defenseman goes, really impressed. You always hit the like button? Okay, good. You do need to get a visa, though. Yeah. Let's hope the Habs go deep in the playoffs, Grant. Will make us all happy and benefit your channel, too. Yeah, I know. It will. Trade Day podcast might fit with the pregame podcast. Ducks Habs. Yeah. Well, it'll be just like this one, kind of a combo thing, right? The boys can get through the first round with a couple of tweaks. Jeez, I hope so. Lazaretto. Smash that mother flipping like button. Absolutely. Did you, Lazaretto? I certainly hope so. By the way, I went to see these guys today about renewing, and he was already gone, so I'll have to talk to him early in the week. But his ad's up on Sunday, I guess. 2 months advertising. I hope somebody that watches this show contacted these guys, because if you didn't or nobody did, I don't know that I'll be getting them renewed. So do me a favor, even if you don't want to get friggin' flooring, ask for a quote from these guys anyways. Tell them Grant sent you. Grant and Ivan Cornway would be much appreciated. There's the logos. Where's Ivan? Let's get Ivan up here for a sec. Ivan Cornway got his flooring from Logs End. Chris Neal got his flooring from Logs End. Michael Blunden, former Hab, got his flooring from Logs End. Chris Phillips got his flooring from Logs End. Gary Galley even got flooring from Logs End. So it's the choice of former NHLers, and hey, if you get a quote from them, just like I say, tell them like Grant sent you and Ivan sent you, and they will look after you because they are hockey. They are hockey people. All right. What do we got for comments here? What did you think of Arbor's game? Thought he played well for his time on ice. Almost got 12 minutes. Yeah. He was all right. Basking in the glory of his 107-mile-an-hour slap shot. Like to see him get a couple of those on net, eh? Be nice if he got one. Somebody was mentioning the other day about he was leading all rookie defensemen in goals in his rookie year, obviously his rookie year, and then his ice time got really chopped. I went back and had a look. He had 3 or 4 games where he played a little less, but most of the games the rest of that year, 16 plus minutes. So his ice time didn't get chopped that much, but we haven't seen that offensive side of him since. Now, you can say, well, blame it on the coaches with him getting some little less ice time, and that might have been the case. I don't know. He's. I don't like to predict. Well, this is why he hasn't developed like he should have, or that. I mean, when you go from playing 16 to 18 minutes a game to playing 11, it probably messes with your head a bit. And part of it was because he was taking some costly penalties and stuff. And I mean, I get it as a coach. You're hired to win ultimately, right? And you're not hired just to develop one prospect. So there's got to be a kind of a coach has to kind of walk a bit of a fine line there. But anyway, I like Arbor. I don't want them to trade Arbor. I don't think they will. He brings that physical element that every now and then, even if he's not playing all the time, you want in the lineup. His character is just through the roof. I love Arbor Jack guys in the locker room, on the team. Just I think he's a great guy. So don't want to see him traded. At times it may seem like I'm critical of him, but it's at the end of the day, it's the coaches, right? If they don't trust him to play 15 minutes a game, they got to find somebody else. They got to find somebody. They got to trade for somebody here if they want to go on a playoff run that can play 15 minutes a game, can bring some physical dimensions. Because I'd be surprised if they don't trade for somebody and they say, okay, Arbor, we're gonna go from playing you 8 to 12 minutes a game to playing you 15 plus in the playoffs. It probably isn't going to be what happens. So anyway. Bring in Weber to teach him. Yeah. 5 words an hour. You have to hang on every word. Because he doesn't talk too much. If Montreal gets Binner, I'll have to buy a Montreal jersey with his name on it. Yeah. They get Binner, I'll buy you dinner. I am Newfie. How's that sound? Okay, who's beating who here? Beat down? The Mammoth are beating the Wild? Oh, yeah. Mr. Best defensive defenseman in the league, Quinn Hughes. Good. Smoke 'em, boys. Quinn Hughes, 0-0-0-0, -1. 1 shot. Okay. I still think he's overrated. I know he's great with the puck and a great skater, but I don't think they're going to do anything in the playoffs. Saw it in Vancouver. As soon as they played a heavy team, second round, the only time Quinn Hughes made the second round, he was manhandled in the defensive zone by big, heavy forechecking. Habs D-men are playing in a way that they don't favor shooting from the blue line. When one D has the puck, the other is on the other side next to the ramp rather than near the center. Yeah. And you got, you're pretty good with stats. Do you have shots by defensemen where they rank in the league, Francois? I know, they've got 2 defensemen, on pace for 15 plus goals. So there aren't many defense groups that have that. They're second in points by defensemen. So they're providing some offense here, but there aren't too many shooters on that blue line. They seem to prefer to play in a way to pass the puck to the forwards and let them do the offense. Yeah. Well, that's Hudson's, Matheson, well, who knows what he's thinking offensively. like looks pretty with the puck in the offensive zone sometimes, but then puck dies on his stick. The Avs will be dangerous in the playoffs, I think. McKinnon's going to want to make up for that missed goal. Yeah. He's made for playoff hockey for sure. Yeah. Ask AI real quick there, Francois. Well, look, folks, I'm going to start to try to cut down. I think part of the reason why I've lost some momentum here with viewers is these 2.5 hour podcasts. Most people don't have that much time, especially after the podcast. And I'm not going to watch that. So I have to kind of start trimming them a bit. And besides that, I freaking lose my voice talking 5 hours a day. So, especially when I don't have guests, I'm doing all the talking. I think people probably get tired of it. So I am going to wrap this up. Didn't get the other 2 stickers. Thanks for trying to cajole people into contributing there, Mark, but I don't think we're going to hit those 5, so I'm off the hook as far as a Q&A. This is a freaking Q&A every night pretty much anyway. We appreciate your time, Grant. You make it for a point and spoil us. All right. Well, everyone's so generous with their time and with the monetary contributions are great. Ken, thanks for the Manny interview. Hey, no problem. I'm going to try to get some more here going forward. I have reached out to a bunch of they haven't been getting back to me, but I'll keep bugging them. Thanks, Grant. See you, folks. Hoping the boys drop Washington tomorrow. Yeah, I'll do a post game tomorrow night. Look for a Volokin one early afternoon tomorrow. I'm going to talk to Darren, and then we'll put it up probably noonish, 1 o'clock. I know Mark will be looking for that. So really impressive Volokin video tomorrow afternoon, and then post game after that. All right, folks. Okay. Good stuff, Mark. I know you'll be tuning in. We got one. I know, guaranteed one viewer at least. All right. Have a pleasant Friday night, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in. Go Habs, go. And hope to see you tomorrow. Bye for now.